Hey everyone, Ian here. Today we're going to be talking about location scouting. Personally, this is my favorite part of pre production. I know a lot of people don't care for it, but personally, I love it. And not only is it fun, it's paramount to ensuring that you have a smooth production experience. Knowing what a location has to offer, as well as some problems you might have to deal with, will really go a long way when you show up on the day to shoot. So, with that being said, let's take a look at some of the most important things to look for when location scouting. The first thing I look for when I'm location scouting is where is everybody going to park? This being an indie production and not a big Hollywood production, you're probably not going to have the budget for lodging at a hotel, a shuttle bus to bring everybody to and from the set, so everybody's most likely going to be taking their own vehicle. Some people may carpool, that might help, but you're just going to have to think, there might have to be a bunch of vehicles at a given location, so figure out where everybody can put their car. The second thing I look for is the restroom situation. People are going to need to use the bathroom, whether that be to relieve themselves, to put clothes on, to put makeup on, what have it. You need to figure that out. You're not always going to have the luxury of being at somebody's house, being at a restaurant, and if you're shooting out in the woods, you can't just tell people to go behind a tree. I mean, for guys, if they need to, go pee, maybe that's okay, maybe they don't mind, but you can't tell the ladies to squat behind a bush. That's unacceptable and it's kind of barbaric. And just use some of the budget you have to get a portable toilet. It'll go a long way. And it ups your production value too. Like people will be like, wow, they actually had the foresight and the courtesy to get a portable toilet. So just do that. The next thing I look for is where can we set up craft services, i.e., where is the food going to go? On set in an indie production, most of the time it's good to have snacks until you're on break. That way, people, if they're hungry, they can just snack on something. And then when you have the big break for cast and crew, you go out to a restaurant, preferably a restaurant that has a diverse menu that caters to certain allergies or dietary restrictions, just so everybody's happy, because not everybody has the same diet that you do, or she does, or he does. And it'll go a long way. And the more you do for your cast and crew, the more they're going to do for you. So just take care of them, they'll take care of you. The next thing I look for is a place to set up a video village, as they call it. Basically, that's just a fancy way of saying somewhere to monitor what's being shot. You really won't need this as much, with mobile filmmaking. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can use Filmic Pro's Filmic Remote, which kind of pairs the devices over a Wi-Fi connection. There's a bit of lag, but it's good for playback. If you have a nice big monitor, maybe you can figure out a way to MacGyver an HDMI cable into the phone. I haven't tried that because I have Filmic Remote. Maybe that's something I'll look into and maybe I'll make a video on it. But just somewhere to monitor the footage that you're shooting, because you'd be amazed at what you can miss when viewing the content on a small screen, such as the phone you're shooting with. So it pays to have a bigger screen. And the last thing I look for out in the field is what is your power supply situation? This will vary depending on what gear you're using. If you're using a lot of lithium-ion devices that are rechargeable, then make sure you have a power bank, or I'd say at least 2 or 3, just to make sure all of your devices don't run out and you don't have to run to another location to juice up. Have them on the ready, on location. You won't regret it. Now, if you're using different equipment, like say you're using a shotgun condenser microphone like the 416 I'm using right now, it requires phantom power. Most of the time that requires you plugging in to a power source for constant power, just like an expensive light. If you're out in the field, that's kind of hard. If you're shooting out in the woods, I mean, you could get a generator, but they're very noisy and they're not cheap. So it can kind of make your audio unusable, even with top-of-the-line software and denoiser plugins. So I would try to go the route, if you're out in the field, of using lithium-ion devices. Digital's come a long way, and with a little EQ know-how, you can make stuff sound analog as far as audio, if you know what you're doing with EQ. It's not going to sound as authentic, but it's close enough, so that's a workaround. And the most important thing to know, and I saved this last for a reason, is know that you'll absolutely be able to shoot at a location without being told to leave. Make sure you're not on private property. Make sure you talk with the owner of the property to see if they'll allow you to film. And if they tell you no, do not be sneaky, because if they catch you, who knows what can happen. They could beat the crap out of you. They might call the cops and you could get arrested. It's just not a good idea. If you're told no, don't be sneaky. Find somewhere else to shoot. It's not worth it. It all comes down to just doing your homework. Take in what's going on at the location when you're there. Is it noisy? Is it too loud? Is it a common area where there's a ton of people? Continuity. And the more you do this, the better you'll get at assessing problems and dealing with them before you go there to shoot. There's honestly nothing worse than arriving at a problem that you didn't see when you were location scouting the day of shooting. Because you have so many things on your mind, and then just trying to combat those problems that arise because you weren't looking for them. There's nothing worse. And it all just falls down from there. So just do your homework, be prepared. Like my favorite quote, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. But as long as you look for these things when you're location scouting, you should have a smooth production process. And that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.